You bought all of them.
All right.
Oh, nice. It has a stand on the case.
Yeah, it's filming you at the moment.
Okay, good. Let's say I just have these wherever. So now the orientation is locked. What I can do to get a rough estimate of where they should be on the tray for printing, I can hit this button, placement, automatic placement, and the computer is going to calculate which is the best way to put them on the tray. You can see how the head of the machine is to the top left. That's the home position.
So you want time to.
Exactly. You want them close to that as possible. Because if they're over here, it has to travel further to get there.
Right.
Also, the higher the part, the closer to the top left they should be. For the exact same reason. If it finishes printing these, it still has to print this one. So if this one was over here and it still had to print after it finished these, the head has to travel all the way over there. If it's printing that last, then the head doesn't have to travel a lot when it's closest to the top left. So this is what it says to do. This looks pretty good. I probably wouldn't change anything with the placement. But again, if you have a lot of little parts, you might, the tallest one's closer to the top left, and then have everything, closer to this area. These lines over here simulates the pass of the head. So to do the whole tray, let's say it has to move 1, 2, 3, just over 3 times along the y-axis. If we had small parts and we fit them all in between here and here, it's going to take less time than if it was overlapping a little bit. It would have to move down and then go over here just to get that little piece. So keep everything, if you can, within the lines. This button here, you got the views. If you want ISO views or ortho views, they're all over here. Zoom, I just use the mouse for zoom. The plane. After you placed everything, a validation will tell you if the pieces are too close together or too close to the outside of the tray, and if there is a problem with the STL, if there's unclosed contours or if it was made with surfaces. They're okay, it says validation succeeded. Look, they're good. So let's just make sure everything is the way we want it now. We have this, it's a matte finish, we'd want that to be glossy. This would also be glossy. This one...
Well, you're selecting, I should select the surface or the whole piece?
Right now it's selecting the whole piece.
Okay.
You can't select the surface and make that glossy, and then this one matte. You can't do that, because it's just one part.
It's just the whole thing, okay.
Yeah. This one I think we print in glossy as well, but maybe it might be better to do it in matte. So let's say that's matte. I don't know how it's going to show on this. Okay. So with this, colors, if you leave it by material, it'll be the color of the material. So right now we have Vero white, we had a Vero black, it should go black. Right? When you go to the cube by surface, the brighter green, it's, let's say, it's hard to see on the screen exactly. Usually it's like a darker, more vivid green is glossy, and a lighter green or more dull green is matte. So this one's matte, and this one's glossy. So that's the difference. It's just to make sure if you have, let's say, 100 parts on here and you don't know which one you had glossy, which one you had matte, it's to confirm that everything's okay. This matte, this glossy. So these look good to print. If I right click and go to advanced properties, that's where I can change that support setting. Remember I said how you can change how much model it puts in the support? So right now it's set at standard. If it was something with very little material and unnecessary support, change it to light. It'll be easier to clean as well. You can also do the other way around and make it heavy. You can also hollow a part, shell it out. It's just going to make the interior hollow. You assign the wall thickness like this. It might save you some material. It'll still fill it with support, but it's not going to use as much model. You understand? there is one option over here that's useful. Under build properties, the O over here is pretty much like a file. The O. Logo.
Yeah, file.
Your password for this you're going to write OS, and then it's going to be the day times the day plus the month. And if that is not a 3-digit number, add a 0 in front of it so it is a 3-digit number. So today is the
Changes every day?
17th. Yeah. Today is the 17th, so we do 17 times 17 plus 8 for August. 297. So the password would be OS 297.
Why do we have to do this? What's the process?
And if it was, let's say, 97,
You
add
add
a
a
0. So I'm going to type in OS297. And now I can access these properties, settings, basically. I don't touch anything in here. The only thing that might be useful is this number right here. So under glossy, support, what this controls, let's say I am building a part over here. So this is the front view. Here we have the tray. So let's say this is my part, right? There's a hole going through it and a feature there. Right now with that number set at 1, the support being built, so this is that pedestal underneath
Oh, I see.
of support. That that number 1 over there means that it is 1 millimeter extra underneath. So it's protruding out over here 1 millimeter. The reason for this is that if we had that at a 0, the support would be like this now. It wouldn't protrude out. When it prints, it might flash a little bit. The model might flash down like that, so you'd have a rough edge, a sharp edge. You know what I mean? Then you'd have to file it down. So it helps prevent that. What this would do also, if you had a hole like this, it would also build support 1 millimeter out from that hole. So it would be like that.
Right.
And that helps keep that hole circular. Because it supports it up when it's building it, so it keeps it circular. Otherwise, if it didn't have anything, it might be a little bit oblong, but sometimes you won't notice that, right? It all depends. If you notice it and it's a critical feature for you, then you guys can try printing it in with the
So
setting
always
at
keep
1.
it at
I
1.
leave that at 1 right now. Sometimes, because if you have a 90-degree surface with holes on it, and you don't want to see the path of support everywhere, right? Because if you have the support at 1, when you clean it off, you're going to see the matte finish all the way up to those holes,
right,
even though it's a flat wall and it should be glossy, right? If you had that at 0, it's going to be glossy and you'll still get the holes. You understand?
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep it at.
We'll keep that at 1 for now.
Yeah.
You can also scale your parts. Let's say I want that half the size. 0.5 uniform scaling, shrinks it down. If you want to bring it back up to its original, I think you have to do 2. We'll do 2 because now the origin is set at half the size. Brings it back up. You can also do things like cutting it, split. I really never use this